you in your notes, Charlotte, have also made the case that the current law is not enough to address the power that these names are commanding. Why do you say that?
Yes, that's right. The current EU law is about 20 years old. We were in a very different situation. The internet economy has changed significantly and now is really dominated by just a few powerful firms. So I think the old regulations, together with regular competition law, was really insufficient. And we have a similar situation in the United States, where antitrust law alone has been left to try to promote competition among these dominant digital platforms. And we have no regulations at all, let alone 20-year-old regulations. So we really need, both in the US and in the EU, to have some of these ex-ante rules like the EU has been talking about today.
What about enforcement? How do we see that play out? Because so far in the US, and I don't know whether the situation in Europe would be different, but there has been a lot of back and forth between companies and the regulators on saying, there is no issue out here, and, companies have been pushing back. So how do you think enforcement will happen effectively if these laws were to see the light of day?
Yes, so I think that's part of the reason why the new laws are needed, because the lawsuits that we've seen in the past have not had the needed impact. As you said, the companies are pushing back, saying they haven't broken the law. They have had remedies for some of these antitrust cases in the EU that really just haven't made a difference. So this is a new strategy on the part of the EU, and I think we need to see a similar strategy in the United States as well, putting forth these rules that would apply to the companies without having to go through the long process of an antitrust suit, because we already know what is needed in this market, and it's these rules: interoperability, no self-preferencing, treating the data fairly, many of the things that the Digital Services Act and Digital Markets Act list today.
Right. How closely are you watching the situation in China and the kind of regulatory crackdown that we're seeing on tech companies here? And what does that mean in terms of a template that the Western world would also look to follow?
Well, in the United States, I think I'm concerned that I sometimes hear that we should not be doing antitrust enforcement against American companies because they need to compete with China. And I really disagree with that perspective. Like I said, competition really is the best way to make these companies strong. So protecting them from antitrust enforcement is not an effective way to promote competition against companies in other countries. Competition is going to make them the strongest they can be so that they can compete with those other companies in China and elsewhere.